Hello, my name's Steve Timms and I'm going to take you through a step-by-step guide on how to put together your CB kit from taking it out of the boxes. Now, first thing is to make sure that you've actually got a reasonable area to work in, because there's going to be a lot of packaging and things that you need to kind of get rid of, so give yourself some space. Okay, let's start with this first box here. Now this is the square of the two boxes. And what I've done is I've actually already taken the equipment out, but this is the first one to deal with. So if we just get rid of this box, if I can put that to there. Now, what you're going to find in that box, in this order, are your symbols, which come in a pack with an instruction sort of leaflet on the top. Now, we don't need those for the moment, so we can put those to one side. In here, you will also find the heads for your floor tom. Okay, so again, we don't need those right this moment. The heads for the bass drum, and again, we can put those to one side. Inside here, you will find your small tom, and that is actually already put together. So we can again just put that over here. The next drum in the pack is the floor tom. Now the floor tom doesn't have any heads on, and it has the rims bolted to the top there. We also then have the hoops for the bass drum. So the bass drum is the first thing we need to deal with, but one thing to check for, when you pull out the box, in one of the corners you'll find this unit here, and in the cardboard box you will find all of the tuning lugs that you need to deal with the bass drum. Now we're going to put that to one side for just a second, and this is the second box that you'll have here. Now this box contains all of your hardware, your snare drum, and another tom that's already actually fitted together and ready to go. So if we just get this box out of the way. Thank you. And like I say, I've just spread out the hardware here. Now this is a good thing to do, so when you start to build your kit, you can see what you're dealing with, everything's there, and you know sort of where to go for it. So let's deal with the bass drum first. Now as you can see, the bass drum has no heads or rims or anything attached to it. So what we're going to do here is actually put the head on. We're going to start by putting the front head on the bass drum. Now in this pack here, you have two heads. Let's just take that part there. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put the head on the top here, and the good thing to do is just to get hold of either side and just to give it a spin around there, just to make sure it's seated sort of comfortably on what we call the bearing edge of the drum. Okay, so that looks fairly lined up to me. Okay. The next thing to do is to put the hoop of the bass drum on. Now, two things to look for here. On the edges of the bass drum hoop, one edge is flat. Now, that flat edge is the edge that needs to sit against the head. So we're going to put this on. Now, another little tip here is, as you look around the bass drum hoop, you will see a join in the covering. Now, for cosmetic reasons only, let's put that at the bottom, so when you set up your bass drum, you're not going to see that on any other part there. So we've got this on, and again, just give that a little twist, just make sure that is actually sitting evenly around the head. Right, the next thing to do is to actually fit the head on with the tuning lugs. Now, there are two sets of tuning lugs. What I've done is I've got them out the bag and I've put them out here so again we can see what we're dealing with. These ones here have to go on to the bottom of the bass drum. The reason for this is that they don't have the key, if you like, attached to them. So when they sit on the bottom of the bass drum, it's not going to hit on the floor. The other ones, as you can see, have the tuning key attached to them. So let's grab some of these and start to put the bass drum together. So let's take one of these ones here. Now this has to go on the bottom of the bass drum here. You've got two here which we're going to sit against the floor. So using this one first, we need to put this in like this, just line it up, let it sit comfortably there, and then just twist it with your fingers until it's just starting to nip on the thread, but don't over tighten that even with your fingers, because you'll start to pull the rim over to one side. We don't want to do that. Now the next one to do is actually to move over to the other side of the drum. So what we're doing here is now we want one of these ones with the actual key on it, and again we go position that in there, just let that sit comfortably, turn that round with the fingers. And again, just finger tight. We don't want to sort of pull the rim too much either way. Now what we need to do from here is find the other one of these ones without the top on it to go at the bottom. Same thing, just finger tight. Once again, we go opposite just to make sure that the rim is going to sit comfortably, not be pulled or influenced in any way. One more of those. Okay, now at this point, what we need to do now is if we just go around the drum and just finger tight with all of the lugs there, just to make sure there's no play. Now from this point on, the bass drum does not need a lot of tension in it. If we push our hand into the bass drum, you can see that we've got a few sort of dimples in the head here. Now, on any other head of the drum, that would not be a good thing, but with the bass drum, it's okay. So all we're going to do here is a half a turn on each lug, working opposite across the drum like this. And at this point, you're going to need your drum key just to do these bottom ones here. So again, just a half a turn, half a turn. Now for your bass drum, that should actually be fine, okay? So that's your first head on there. Okay, we've got the top head on now, that's all secure. Next thing to do is to get the back head on. But before we do that, we're going to let you into a little secret here. With a bass drum and wanting a modern sound, we need to actually put some dampening in the bass drum. Now, this is the time to do it. You don't want to get your head on and then find that the drum's too ringy or doesn't have the right sound. So let's do that now. Now, one of the best things for that is actually an old pillow, which I managed to find here. And what we're going to do with this is just to lay the pillow in the drum. Don't worry too much about it to begin with, because once you've got your head on, you can shake the bass drum around until the pillow sits sort of correctly on the bottom. Like I say, what this is going to do, this is going to dampen the ring on the bass drum. It will give you a much tighter sound. Okay, so let's get on with that. Let's get this head. Once again, you've got your logo. If we put that at the top, just give that a quick spin round. Make sure that's leveled up with the top of the drum there. We take our hoop, remembering to take the plastic cover off. Put that to one side, and again I'll just remind you, on the hoop, two different sides. We have the flat side and a rounded side. It's the flat side of the hoop that has to go against the head. Again, I just remind you, for cosmetic reasons, you'll see a break in the covering here, if I can find it. There it is. Okay, again, just put that at the bottom of the drum. Lay your hoop flat on there. Just give that a little turn around. Just make sure that's sitting squarely on the head. So here we go again. We now need to get all of our lugs together. We'll put them down here this time, remembering that the ones with just the square heads on have to go at the bottom of the drum. Let's get that one in there. Then we have one with a top on it, and if we move to the opposite side of the drum, so we pull the rim down evenly. back to the bottom of the drum here with just a square peg. Again, opposite side of the drum. Okay, then just from this point going round the drum, just making sure they're all finger tight. The rim is being pulled down evenly onto the head. From this point here, if we just sort of take a starting point, a half a turn, need your drum key for the bottom ones, a half a turn. There we go, on each peg. And for your bass drum, that won't be far out, the tuning on that. Now, we can play around with the tuning, but we've got to start somewhere. So leave the bass drum like that. Let's just do the last bit of the bass drum so we can actually get it set up and in position. Now, the last bit here is to actually get hold of your drum spurs, which you will find in this long box here, and they're in with your tom legs. So just like I said, it's a good idea to have all this stuff all out, otherwise you're constantly searching through boxes. But this is our next bit here, is our drum spurs. Now, the drum spurs are the things that hold the drum in position and hold it level. They go into these brackets here, and for the time being, if you actually push them sort of with just, I don't know, 5 or 6 centimetres sticking out there, and the same with this one. Now what we need to do is to pull the bass drum up, actually sit it upright in its correct position. Now, as you can see at the moment, the spurs are ineffective. So what we now do is just come around to the front of the drum, hold it as level as we can, sort of thing, let the spur drop down, give that a tighten. Now, with these drum kits, and all drum kits really, don't over tighten anything. It only needs to be as tight as it needs to be to kind of hold the thing in place. Don't then give it another half turn, because all you're doing then is putting stress on the threads. They don't need that. So there we go, there's one spur in place. So if we now move to the other side of the drum, just let this one drop down and put that in place. Now, what we're looking for here is the rim of the drum here, or the hoop of the bass drum. I'd say if you can get your finger under the front of that, that's roughly okay. So this one needs to come up a little bit. So let's just take this side up a fraction. Same with this one. That's it, I can get my fingers under there now. That's looking good. Okay, so there's our bass drum, all squared up, set up and ready to go.